Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cantina MX Football Podcast, episode 438. Boy, we have a lot to unpack tonight. We had Copa America and Euro results. Argentina and Spain champions, but not without some controversy. We also finally have a verdict on my tocayo, Jimmy Lozano. He has decided to step down, and we will find out in the upcoming weeks who will be taking his place. We currently have Jornada 3 going on in Liga MX. Chivas just beat Querétaro 2-0. We'll talk about that and much, much more on our podcast. For those who are new here, welcome. We go live on Twitter Spaces, live on YouTube, and then we distribute the entire podcast on all of your favorite podcasting apps. But really, the breaking news tonight is the FMF have decided to part ways with Jimmy Lozano. Official just a couple of hours ago. It was announced, and I don't know. I really don't think that this is any surprise to anyone, all the fans. They really just were not good enough with Jimmy Lozano. They reevaluated his decision to stay, and they gave him the option to remain part of the staff, and he decided that it was best to just call it a day. So Jimmy Lozano will no longer coach the Mexican national team, and everyone has sort of anticipated the return for the third time, Javier El Vasco Aguirre, who has already coached the national team on 2 separate occasions. The first one kind of as a last-minute, replacement to Ojitos Mesa. We were on the brink of not qualifying for the 2002 World Cup. They brought him in last minute as a fireman, and he was able to get us into the 2002 World Cup. Had a great group stage run. We tied with Italy. Borghetti scoring what I think is one of Mexico's best World Cup goals of all time against the great Buffon. However, in the round of 16, we caved in and lost to our bitter rivals, the U.S. Then he came in again on a nightmare, on an emergency in 2010. We had gone through quite a few different coaches. I think Hugo Sanchez, Van Goren Eriksson, and in the end, they decided to bring him back again in anticipation of the 2010 World Cup in South Africa. Same results. We got out of the group stage miraculously, and then we ended up losing in the round of 16 to Argentina. This time, it's a little different. We still have 2 years until the World Cup kicks off. And unlike other editions, he is not having to put out any fires. He doesn't have to worry about qualifying for the World Cup. We're in the World Cup already. So they're going to give him about 2 years to prepare the team for this journey. I don't know if he's the right decision, but one thing that I will admit is that he is a better choice. He's a better choice than Jimmy. Jimmy was just not doing anything different than Tata Martino had done. He still played with the same 4-3-3. He used very similar players. And we really weren't seeing any type of style being implemented, any type of changes being made. I know for Copa America, he made some surprising call-ups and left out some sacred cows. But in the end, we couldn't even get out of the group stage. And, that's enough to say, you know what? Thanks, but no thanks. Bomba Man, thanks for joining us on YouTube. Vasco Aguirre incoming. Puro bombero llega a la selección. Yes, I agree. Right now, it's not a coaching problem. It's a talent problem. We've beat this dead horse quite a few times, especially after failing in the World Cup 2022. We had a whole crisis with Mexico having one of the worst finishes in my lifetime. But this is an ongoing problem. It's been an ongoing problem for a long time. We didn't qualify for the latest Olympics, and everyone is just in full panic mode, very frustrated with the players. And I don't think any coach can come in and make much of a change. Right? You still have to play with these mediocre players that have no aspiration. We have less and less players in Europe, and the players that are being called up are not that young. Julio Gonzalez is 33 years old, dude. What? You had Tala Rangel, who had a miraculous game today against Querétaro. Rangel had a great game against Querétaro, and I hope that he continues to get chances at the national team. I know they decided to cook him in that game against Uruguay, but I think Rangel is still a goalkeeper that we should definitely keep our eyes on. Let's see if we can get Elbow to speak. He claims that he's requested many times in other episodes, but this is the first time I've seen him pop up. But hope you're doing well there, Super Elbow, and obviously Joel. You guys should be able to speak now. I gave you guys access. Let's see. Joel, you're on mute, but welcome to the show.
Glad to be back, Jaime. Glad to be back. Mr. Jaime, Mr. Joel.
Let's go.
Back, you guys are talking to a guy out of the grave, man.
What's that?
I said I came out of the grave for this, man.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's really nice to hear your voice again, Elbow. How you feeling? How you doing?
Been good, man. I got to tell you, modern medicine is a wonder. Feeling pretty good. Just recovering from that stent surgery and then getting ready to roll again, man.
Yeah.
For my wife, but had a chance to watch some of that football game, man, and man, I got to it's nerve-wracking to watch Chivas, man.
Yeah, I blame them for your health, bro. It's like you gotta turn off the telly, bro. It's gonna get your emotions up and your health low. I
tell you, man, it's freaky, man. We're not very good. I don't know if even though the refuerzos we got are kind of bums. I don't know if there'll be any gelling of some of the younger players that are there or what, man. But we gotta hope that some of those youngsters come through and help out the squad.
Absolutely.
Chicha, I don't know, man. Chicha's being, the Chicha of the last third of his career, man. Just an absolute spaz.
Yeah, Chicharo ended up having the assist today with Cade Cowell's goal. Cade Cowell has 2 goals in 2 games, so he's off to a great start to this season. Chivas ended up winning 2-0. Alan Mosso with a great breakaway. Ormiga with the assist on that one. And it was not an easy game. I think if you're just scrolling on your phone looking at the scoreline, you're like, oh, Chivas had an easy game. It was not an easy game. It was on the road. And, Chivas had the benefit of the doubt of scoring early in the game to kind of even things out. It's very rare to see Chivas actually put away their chances. They typically attack a lot. They own possession. They miss their chances. The other team scores, and then it's like playing from behind. But today they did capitalize on their finishes. As well as Chicharo, we had Rifalo, who's been giving a lot of IQ into the podcast, not emotion, but IQ, and he says how helpful, he's been for the team, being more of an assister than a scorer. And he obviously doesn't have the legs to play the full 90, but I think he had an okay game. Alan Mosso, hopefully will return to the national team now that Jimmy Lozano is out, because he definitely deserves to be playing on the national team.
Yeah, I did notice a little bit about Chicha that he's he still has some of that movement and he's able to dish out a pass every once in a while, so that is helpful. And I might be one of the few people who didn't think Cade Cowell was that bad last season. I get it. The guy's aim at the net was pretty terrible, and the power in his shots wasn't great. But I didn't really think he was that bad. I think maybe if he continues to adjust, the guy's going to be very productive for Chivas.
I agree, Colo. I was. You could add me to that list of people who didn't think he was a bad. I just think sometimes we get misled, the media, or there's this high expectations. People, just they'll see a striker and they're hoping for 10 goals. But we could see throughout the games that he was one of the more productive players and what he was bringing to the table. Um, but it's normal. Typical fans want, they want goals. Goles son amores. If you're not scoring them, you might as well not be doing anything for the most part. But the fact that he's been able to be part of the starting squad, it just shows what how useful he is to the team.
Yeah, real quick, we'll go over match week 3 results, and then I'll ask you guys about your opinions on Jimmy Lozano getting sacked from the national team. Pachuca beat San Luis 2-0 today. Chivas, again, the victory over Querétaro 2-0. Atlas beat Santos 1-0. And as of right now, Chepo Ball, Puebla, 1-1 versus Nacho Ambriz and his León. But guys, the big story right now with Jimmy Lozano deciding to step down, like, was it coming? Are you guys surprised? Are you guys happy, sad? Like, what are you guys' thoughts?
Hey man, this is what I was worried about when they hired Jimmy Lozano. I remember mentioning that I thought it was premature to give him the gig. I think had they gone with maybe an old wiser coach beforehand and then had him as the assistant or whatever, maybe that works. But I didn't want to see a cartucho quemado, right? I did not want to see them burn out another Mexican coach. And I knew this was going to happen. And this is why I did not want him to be there. I wanted Nacho Cuadro or Almada to be in there just for that reason. And again, if you're going to put a guy like Jimmy Lozano in there, you need to give that guy up to that 2030 cycle. I don't know what the media and the fans think right now that you're going to bring in Aguirre, put a Band-Aid on, maybe make them look halfway decent into the World Cup. But at the end of the day, it does nothing for that next cycle either. At least that's my opinion on that.
Yeah, I think the whole going into next cycle, it kind of just shows how disconnected the Mexican Federation is, because a lot of this goes way back to when Tata Martino was coach, and when it was like apparent that he didn't want to be there no more, and the people at the time they were in charge were not willing to let him go, right? If those sources are to be believed, but from there was like when they should have started already working. What was going to happen with the national team?
Hi guys, how you guys doing?
Ron, welcome to the show, man.
I was watching the pod with what's his name, Peláez, when he was interviewing Hugo Sanchez, and I never knew this, but according to Hugo, when he was giving his presentations to the commission, he was saying that he wanted 3 cycles.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 2010, 14, and culminating at 2018 with the goal of winning the World Cup in 2018, right? And according to Hugo, when he was giving his his presentation, he was basically telling us, like, I see you guys are looking at me like I'm crazy, but I believe it. You guys don't. So for me, it's it's crazy to let Jimmy go. Whether I wanted him or not is beside the point. At this point, we keep going just on four. We keep doing cycles in 4 years,
Uh-huh.
and that's not how you do it. I mean, if you think
Yeah.
about it, like Uruguay, what's the name? Tavares, whatever he did, what 3 World Cups, 4 World Cups or whatever, 3 World Cups, I think. And then you had like Germany, the guy, he was also I think in 3 World Cups or 2 World Cups. Southgate also did, for a
Southgate.
while.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's like I think we need to start seeing past just the 4 years
Yep.
and actually
But
start
you know
thinking
what?
about
But you know what, Ron?
yeah.
For me it's more the national team. It's more the federación of the people that they have in charge that are going to set up what the cycle's going to be like. Because you could put a coach and he could just lose the plot for whatever reason, but if everything else is in order, you could just slide in another coach and continue doing well. And the fact that Federación every 4 years they'll change the people in charge, and those guys kind of have a whole nother idea of which direction the team should go. And I think that's one of the big problems what's been going on with the national team, that they seem to start from zero all the time.
Well,
Like
but
whatever progress.
that's the point. That's why I kind of have to agree with Hugo Sanchez. Well, I mean, maybe not 3 World Cup cycles, but at least 2 World Cup cycles where you give the coach enough time, because like right now, whoever replaces Jimmy for 2026. The next guy for the 2030, it's going to be the same. It's going to be the same shit show.
One
So,
thing,
I-
One thing I want to point out real quick is they did say that they offered Jimmy the cuck chair. They said, "Hey, we're gonna allow you to stay along with your group, your assistant coaches, and sit in the cuck chair till 2030." They offered him a contract until 2030, and he can be I don't know, watching it from that chair and letting somebody with more experience coach the team until 2026, and then from 2026 to 2030 that he was going to have full reign of the team. But what kind of bullshit offer is that?
If you allow me, that was a fucking blunder to even admit it. I mean, it was known out here, but to fucking admit it in a fucking in a press release, that's a fucking blunder. You again question who the fuck is at helm when they do bullshit like this.
Ron, I do remember the Hugo asking for 3 cycles, and I remember the clowns on ESPN Deportes made fun of it. That said, I'll be the first to tell you that I laughed along with them at hearing 3 cycles. Right. These days, though, I'm a lot more of the mindset of why not try something like, I think it's Germany and Spain that do 6 years for each coach, right? And see what type of long-term progress you can have. Have that other guy in the pipeline ready to take over. Now, that said, the whole offering, Jimmy, the cuck chair, man, is the most ridiculous thing that you could ever do, man. Just imagine, Jaime, say you're head software engineer or something like that, right? And then they decide somebody who's a few years older and you's going to take over your job, and you should take a demotion and just kind of watch them.
Just hang in there.
You can stick around and watch. You want to watch?
Yeah. I mean, what good is that doing you?
Yeah. No, I can't. Like Albert said, I can't believe that they actually put that in the statement today, and it just goes to show the clown show that's happening in the FMF.
You know what? I'm surprised that they didn't fucking do those emotional videos that they tend to do under Edgar Martinez.
Yeah.
With a sad song.
They show like the video of Jimmy doing a TikTok dance. Thank you for everything.
Yeah. Thank you for.
Yeah. We had some YouTube comments. Bomba Man says the bronze medal squad was supposed to take a step forward, but never did. And he also said that Mexico does not invest in long-term projects. We also had Franklin Cap say, I wanted Lozano gone. Never should have been the coach anyways.
So the whole the silver medal squad, not
Bronze.
not forward, or sorry, bronze medal. I think Ron and Joel and I and others have talked about this in the past, in that out of a youth squad, you're generally going to get 2 or 3 guys that kind of come out of it playing pretty decent. So to expect for everybody from that squad to really be something special, I mean, it's a little bit unreasonable.
Well, it's the Olympics. It's not like a under 17, under 20. You know, these guys are under 23. Obviously, they allow 3 players over age.
Right,
but you look at the squad. I mean, let me look at the squad real quick from that. Let me see here. I'll pull it up, but keep going.
No, I get what you're saying, and again, they're all older. The thing is that it still stands for the most part. A lot of those players, unless they're a little bit younger or they really do show they have like a higher ceiling, you're still only going to get 2 or 3 guys that really stand out, man.
Yeah, the cream of the crop or the Vasquez and Montes, and they've established themselves as the backline. I mean, maybe Lainez and Cordova were guys you were looking at, especially Cordova, who had a good tournament. But the rest, and Vega, Vega has his issues. But I mean, the cream of the crop was the 2 defenders, and they're there. So.
I'm looking at this squad, and it's pretty much the same. Starting with Malagon as goalkeeper, Jorge Sanchez, Cesar Montes, Angulo, Vasquez, Luis Romo, Carlos Rodriguez, Henry Martin, Diego Lainez, Alexis Vega, Ochoa, Eric Aguirre, Antuna, Sebastián Córdoba, Eduardo Aguirre, Ricardo Angulo, Nene Beltrán, Roberto Alvarado, Piojo, and Jurado. I mean, a lot of these guys play for the national team. Not all of them, but a lot of them.
Right, but for the most part, those guys are average players, right? Yeah. Malagon looks to have some upside, right?
Antuna's average.
Yeah. What's his name?
Vega's average.
Piojo Alvarado. Unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to see what he was going to look like at Copa America. So, I mean, there's not much to be impressed with any of those players, right? And again, Cordova is one of the disappointments in all of this, right?
Yeah, and he had a good tournament. That's what I was expecting. After that tournament, it was Lainez, the one that was that everybody thought was going to break out, but it was Cordova had a good tournament. Then after that, what was it? He got el 10 de Blanco con América, and he couldn't handle. He got dizzy and couldn't handle it.
Yeah, I will say the gold medal match, Spain, Brazil. There's some Spanish players on there. Dani Olmo just won a Euro. Pedri just won a Euro. There's some names on here that ended up transcending and winning some silverware with the main squad. Cucurella's on there. So, Olympics, I would say, is a little bit closer to seeing definitely like the future of the national team. And I think everyone was like, oh, well, Jimmy's that guy. He got us 3rd place and then wins the Gold Cup. It's like, you know what? He should stay. We need a Mexican coach anyways. But I think my frustration with Jimmy is the fact that he didn't really change anything. He didn't implement any type of style. And he still used the 4-3-3 that Tata had left behind.
He didn't know how to make adjustments.
Yeah.
Look at most of his games. He would wait till he wasn't looking good, so he would wait till 15 minutes in, and it wasn't scheme. It was just man for man, and hopefully these guys could do a better job than the last guy. That was his MO.
Maybe Rifalo can bring in some light. Rifalo, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Thanks for having me.
What's up?
I agree with a lot of what you guys are saying, but I just want to point out that, for the longest time, everybody's been complaining about our reluctance to move away from the 4-3-3. Here we have a coach that almost never uses the 4-3-3. but instead opts for 3 at the back, like he did with Mallorca, or the 4-4-2, like he did with Monterrey, and has done so for the majority of his career. We have Aguirre. He's a guy who likes to play with 2 strikers. He's a guy who is pragmatic, and I'm looking forward to what he can bring, because I know it's going to be drastically different than what Jimmy can do. And so I'm not too crazy about the politics. It could have been worse. I would have preferred Almada. But here we have this fucking, this rock solid guy with big old balls. It takes big old balls to be the bombero in Spain. And that's what he's done for the past 15, 20 years.
But you know what? Honestly, he walks in a different situation than he did the first 2 times. The first time, he was part of Liga MX. He had a good sense of what everybody was doing. And then the second time, he was in Europe, but he had a crop of players. He had that crop from 2016. They were, it wasn't doing too good, but they just had to do a tune-up. But now he's not familiar. Well, he had that time with Monterrey, which was only a couple months. He's not that familiar with what's going on, and he doesn't have the benefit of having a Rafa Marquez, a Guardado, that type of crop of players. So I'm interested to see what is he gonna do. Last time we were talking about that he's just gonna do that. Maybe he's just gonna do bunker ball and just have a decent showing.
Gentlemen, but this is the thing. No matter who the coach was, the talent is not there to say Mexican challenge for the World Cup. They're going to be a contenders.
So what's a realistic goal? What's a realistic goal? Now that they have the next round,
it's gonna be probably quinto partido, and probably they're gonna pass that, because let's keep in mind it's 48 teams now. So Mexico's gonna play their whole group. They're gonna play their whole group stage at home.
Yeah,
and they're seeded. They're more likely gonna get very weak opponents. And then pass to the next round. The next round it should be an accessible rival.
Yeah, the round.
And then go to the other, and then everything's back to normal, and everything, you know what I mean? And then he's gonna leave. I don't think he's gonna stay.
So you're saying that they crashed out on the
I gotta see, but I think, to me, that's like the most likely to happen, just given the nature of the World Cup that's gonna happen. And I guess they felt like, all right, this team lacks kind of like motivation. They kind of lack seem to give up. And this dude kind of has that. But I know for like FMF, you're coming off of not getting out of the group stage. So you don't want to do another round of that, of not getting out of the group stage.
No, they'll get out of the group stage. I mean, with 48 teams, come on, they'll get like a Jordan, they'll go Fiji, or something like that.
So that's kind of I would say one of the main concerns. But the whole thing that we're watching is just the federation. I would really like to have like an inside look of what's going on, because the previous management got booted, right? And then somehow Orlegi gets the driver's seat, and then
he's just like
this guy's like he got sabotaged from day one. But even that was like a joke. Like how do you form a commission, right? And once they announced the Mauri, I knew that this isn't serious. The Mauri's he's not a football guy, How are you going to put him in there? It's like, all right, what's going on? He forms his commission. The commission doesn't even have a say on who the coach is. So why do you have those guys there? And even the Pachuca guy turning it down, and he sort of called it like a clown show. He's like, this is all show. They're not going to take anything I say serious. And so he puts his coach, and his coach was never backed. He was never backed. And I know you guys remember one of the first stories that came out about the players complaining about the field and the training, the field was too far from the hotel, and the trainings were too long. I'm like, what the fuck is this? How come no one is bashing the players for being that unprofessional? No one said shit. Instead,
They set
the
him up. They
narrative,
set him
the,
up.
the narrative was that nobody likes, they don't like Coca.
They
And I
set
was
him up
like,
to
what
fail.
the fuck is this, dude? Huh? They said what?
They set him up to fail.
Yeah, they did. They did, and then it was sort of like, all right, let's just get rid of Orlegi, because so that's where my question is like, whoa, how did he even get there if nobody even wanted him there? You
Yeah.
know, it's mind boggling. And then the bomba comes in. I forget his name. New guy comes in to set order.
La Bomba Rodriguez.
There you go. Creates another commission. And then they sort of needed someone, and that was where they just pulled Jimmy, because they needed to placate the fans as well and be like, well, this guy won bronze, and it's sort of what fans were asking for, a young coach
They,
that
they were
it's
also asking for
updated and all this shit, and
Joel. They were also asking for a Mexican coach.
Yeah, it
yeah,
was the
and then they
Argentine
do.
fatigue because of the Argentine
He,
fatigue.
he wins the Gold Cup. They keep him, and then he didn't look too good in the Leagues Cup and some of the friendlies. He does a cardinal sin of losing to
Oh,
the U.S. Yeah,
well.
yeah,
Do you remember when they said Lozano? They did a whole campaign. Oh, he's gonna have help from former coaches. There's gonna be
yeah.
levels of support. None of that fucking materialized.
And I don't know if it was because he didn't want it, and I guess we're gonna find out because he's pretty sure he's gonna make one of the Picante or one of the shows, and I hope they ask him this.
Yeah, well, La Volpe was on there, but everybody was saying that La Volpe wanted the job for himself.
Well, Orpa said no one ever reached out. He said Jimmy has to reach out to me. He's like, I'm not gonna go because someone told me. Like,
So, Joel,
federativo.
the end result was they went from Coca, who they didn't like because he kept them in Lake Las Vegas instead of the Strip,
Well, no, see, this
and
is
then they
the
got
thing.
Jimmy, who brings them a banda and a taquero or something like that for their own.
No, Banda lets him go to eat birria tacos in Houston.
Well,
That's
but
it.
see, this is the thing. That was always bullshit because if the Federación wanted, they would have told the players like, "Hey, listen, fuckers, he's going to be the coach." You know,
He was
like
set up to
stay
fail.
on
That's what
it
it was.
or
He was set up to fail.
yeah, yeah. But then that was used kind of as the excuse.
Yeah,
Well,
so
and then
you
here's
fucking brush up or leggy. Like,
well,
okay, cabrón, ya. ¿Vistes? Bye.
well, here's the
What?
other thing. Here's the other thing with just really quick, Jaime. Here's the thing with Aguirre now that he's coming in, because see, this just shows that it's like, well, who the fuck is controlling this? Because the guys that brought Jimmy said, who we're sticking with him, right?
Nadie se baja
And
del barco.
which was Davino and Cisniega. Those guys
Yep.
didn't bring Aguirre. They didn't bring Aguirre. And now the big word is Aguirre's not going to be listening to either of those dudes.
Yeah.
I was gonna
Especially
ask, like,
Cisniega.
why is Aguirre coming back for a third time? Is it because
The Bomba guy.
it's more of like he's done this twice. We know that we can control this guy, right?
He's our Bruce Arena.
No, he can't be controlled. The thing is like he just has enough juice. Even when they brought him, the second time around, he asked for a lot of money. So he's sort of like they sort of begged him to. He's of other coaches, even if you don't like him, he's the one that's played Mex. He hasn't gotten play like he's not. You know what I mean? He's getting the most out of it, and he's not going to stay. I guarantee you, he's not going to. He's not going to stay after the World Cup.
Look, I don't think he brings anything new. But at this juncture, he's the safest bet because he's the most revered coach in Mexican history. But debate it or not, he's the most revered one. And at this point, who realistically who could you put in that seat? Almada, they say Almada, but I doubt Almada. I doubt it's not a favorable position for him. I think this is the perfect scenario for Vasco. he's a river coach. He's a name brand, and I
So
mean,
third time's a charm, then, guys.
fuck it, why not?
This was done more than anything so they can make it out of the group stage and not completely
Yeah.
embarrass themselves. Aguirre has just enough of that motivative skill to get these players to play just a little bit harder to get them just out of that little shitty zone, right?
He comes with escorts, and he knows how to do it for the homies.
I don't. I think with James, looking back at the U.S. game and some of the games from Copa America, I feel that a coach with a bit more tactical knowledge would have gotten more out of those games.
Oh yeah,
Because I always got that feeling like, huh?
A guy with more technical knowledge fucking beats Ecuador.
Yeah, because it seemed like he didn't take advantage of situations where Mex was having the upper hand. And even with the US, I felt he handed the game to them, and I never.
His subs were always fucking man for man. He never fucking tried to fucking shift the scheme. It was always fucking man for man. Hopefully, the guy I brought in does a better job than the guy before. That was his fucking adjustments.
Yeah, and I think that was eventually what did him in, and what makes this whole look bad was just the Federación. They shouldn't have said so many things. They should have just kept him as an interim, but we're gonna go, turning from turning type of thing. But to make these bold claims and we're keeping him and.
But Joel, in that situation, it also helped that the players were like being the rah-rah team for him,
That's like my ticket is gonna be stamped.
Yeah, and that was it. And again, I'm more of some of these guys need more damn discipline and professionalism, but the Mexican player is a special breed, man.
And there's a thing. I think that's also one of the things that Aguirre brings, because he was a player. He also played. He knows the Mexican players. He knows the language. He's not afraid to talk shit and call it what it is. But at the same time,
he has clout.
Yeah, he has a lot. Yeah,
one of the best, or the best.
Yeah, and he doesn't give in to that stuff, because I remember when he left out Ochoa, and Ochoa was the go-to keeper, and he leaves them out for.
So what you're saying is we're going to get Conejo and Bofo to return?
Yeah, we're going to get Conejo, Bofo.
More like Chicharo. No, Chicharo and Ochoa this time. That would be the equivalent.
Chicharo Ochoa?
Yeah.
Hey,
he didn't play Chicharo. He picked Franco. He picked Franco over Chicharo.
He did. Well, he gave him playing time, but he's going to give Chicharo all the starting time this time. Santi's going to be on the bench.
Yeah, it's gonna be reversed. It's gonna be like with Guille and Chicharito, but in reverse.
Oh man, no, I heard what he's bringing this whole squad, and I think that's what also they're hoping for, that more professionalism that he's bringing in, and that because I
have a question. Is he known as a disciplinarian? I know he looks like he's a hard ass, but does he have a reputation of being a disciplinarian? Because I haven't really heard of that.
No.
Aguirre?
Yeah, he knows the right balance, I think. No.
Yeah, I never heard anything, but at the same time, it's
Aguirre, remember he had that 60-day training camp before the World Cup, and the players were losing their marbles, and I think there was a photo of Cuauhtémoc Blanco smoking a cigarette outside the balcony.
Yeah, that's when that's when Chicharito left.
Yeah, but we're going back 20 years now.
But
14.
You mean 10? Oh yeah, yeah. So no, isn't that the one where he was quoted saying "Ese es mi pinche cuau" or something like that?
Probably.
Yeah.
He didn't care enough.
2010.
That Cuauhtémoc was out there smoking with, who was it? Vela or Chicharo or somebody?
Yeah, No, but I think for him, like his whole trajectory, and to have that career, especially coaching abroad, you do have to know how to manage squads, and I think that's something he has. He can manage a group.
I don't know what to expect from him. One can argue that his Majorca squad is better than our current national team.
I'd say it's more or less the same, but one thing about a few things about Aguirre, just to piggyback off what Joel's saying. Like I just want to summarize that this guy is proven to be able to survive the Machiavellian swamp that so many others have drowned in. He has the backing of the president of the federation. It was La Bomba himself who picked this guy out. And people like Hercules Gomez has even called this move nepotism because I guess they're friends off the field. And then the Amarillistas are going to be happy because this is like a Mexican's Mexican in charge. I'm interested to see what he's going to bring. Like I think he's going to go to the three in the back, and so many people have been clamoring for that. And he also likes to play with two strikers, and that plays to our strength right now because we have a handful of good strikers and our wingers are kind of lacking. So I'm interested to see what he can do. I'm hopeful, call me Mr. Brightside, I guess. But I also think he's got like this unfinished business with La Selección, this bad taste left in his mouth from that 2-0. I think he wants to rectify, and
he don't give a fuck about that. He just wants to get his money, bro.
Let's not forget, Aguirre did save the team twice, but he also made major blunders when it counted.
Yep.
In the game against USA, bring Morales
taking
even
out
has
Morales.
told me
Yeah.
he didn't know why he was taken out. Morales for Luis Hernandez, who the only scoring he was doing was with a Brazilian here in Los Angeles, and the second was El Bofo. El Bofo in 2010.
Hey, I'm waiting for the kid.
And Bofo was Carrillo's choice, not Aguirre's.
No, that was Aguirre.
That's true.
It was Carrillo. It was Carrillo.
They both talked about it. Aguirre talked about it, and even Carrillo.
Because Carrillo said for that game, like he gave him like 3 separate lineups, and he was no, nos van a ganar 5-0, nos van a ganar 4, and he was just rejecting lineups.
His changes that O'Toole, you're opening them old wounds. But yeah, he brought back I think it was Aspe, and like you said, Matador, and those guys were just.
Oh yeah, he would bring that back. He brought Aspe for the 2001 Copa America. Then also remember in the final leg of the eliminatorias, he was calling back Palencia after like 4 years. So he likes to rely on veteran players.
That's not good. Not good at all.
What you're saying, Chicharo is back.
Chicharo's back. Maybe even Vela. Maybe he's gonna fly to LA, tell him to get his shit together, and
hey, what's this rumor I hear that Mexico is very desperate to get Luca Romero to switch?
What I heard, this is what I've been reading is not so much desperation, but the fact that he was left off the Argentine team. That they saw it as an opening, and Lilini is
trying to
there you go. That's the key word, Lilini. So he's a player that since he was young was being scouted by the Mexican national team. Well, but also the Mexican national team and trying to recruit him. He made it to the Argentine teams, if I believe.
Yeah, because he said, I was born in Mexico, but I identify as Argentine. That's what he had said. But
then I think now there's like another chance. And they've had Lilini there, and he's been like in charge of the youth, and I think recruiting players.
You know what? If I may interject here, There's been a lot of negative over this regimen, but you know what? One of the hits they've been having is Lini. Lini's been scouring the earth for anybody that could play for Mexico. He found that kid. He got that kid in Brazil, and he's been working.
He wasn't he was a scout or youth because I know he started as youth, and I think it's at Boca Juniors.
I mean, that's one of the hits. That's
So
one of the good things this regimen has. Lilini fucking is scouring the earth for every fucking possible Mexican.
he needs to come to Echo. What was it? MacArthur Park, where they found
Yeah, he's going everywhere.
Santi
Everywhere
Munoz.
there's a Mexican.
They found Santi Munoz there. Take him to Newcastle.
He's gonna. He would have found Santi Munoz at East LA College.
I saw that movie. I do it. The movie Gol.
Yeah.
And he's playing in McCarthy. Dude, no one played soccer. They play soccer there now, but
No, when the scouts see them, it's at a tournament in East LA College.
No, but they have him playing there at
No,
Man,
the
see
scout,
now I gotta go back
when the
because
English guy goes up to him, it's at Elac.
when he goes, but didn't he first see him playing at the park?
No, I
the
think it's
Palm
at Elac, at a tournament at Elac, and
Okay, now I gotta go back because I was like,
yeah, it's 20 years. It's 20 years.
I'm super sure he got him at MacArthur Park because that park is pretty famous because it's on Alvarado.
Yeah.
And that's like little Central America.
And now it's a homeless encampment. No soccer.
It is. Well, but that one was famous for just real quick, and this it was MS-13 and 18th Street, and that was just like a war zone. And that park has a giant lake, and that was like you could see a lot of guns. And have you seen it?
Joel, did you ever go to El Hoyo in East Los Angeles?
I did. I played there before.
Bringing this back to planet Earth, there was another major announcement in international football today about Southgate stepping down from England. And, I was really surprised with the reaction I saw on Twitter. People were like posting like, Hitler dead, like memes. And I'm like, bro, like, how are you going to compare him to Hitler? Like, because I've, like I said, from my lifetime, I have not seen England play better football than they are in current day. I've seen way better, more talented players: Beckham, Lampard, Gerrard, Owen, Rooney.
Well, those Ben Goda Eriksson era, they had better fucking names, but this team plays better.
And I'm like, bro, like you're telling me that this guy is hit like the worst manager you guys ever he brought you to 2 back-to-back Euro finals, a semifinal in the World Cup, and a quarterfinal. Like, what more can you ask, dude? What more can you ask? As a Mexican fan, I am upset that they're, not giving him his flowers, because if a Mexican coach was to do that with our national team, bro, you'd be a legend.
But you know what? They blame him for certain things about, not putting certain players, being a little too cautious, stuff like that. And you know what? The fact, they've been in 2 finals and they could, especially one at home, and they couldn't deliver, that stings. I wouldn't go as far as calling him Hitler, but it's like, come on, you were so close and you couldn't fucking get it done twice. And I think that's enough for to say.
You know who I blame and deserves more of the blame is Harry Kane. He's England's most, he's the top goal scorer of all time.
Decorated player, except for titles. Yeah.
And he hasn't won a single freaking title. I mean, come on, dude. That guy deserves a lot of the blame, too. He also had like a huge miss, if I remember correctly, in that final against Italy. So,
but then Southgate, he stick to guys like Foden. They call him a 007. What, zero goals, 0 assists in 7 games?
That's funny.
I don't want to blame Kane, but not only did he have a terrible miss, he has not had a shot on target on any of the finals he's played. Like, to be the leading scorer of your national team and play those finals and not have a single shot on target, also at the club level, like, what are you doing, man? Like,
yeah, what are you doing?
You're not throwing the team on your back when it matters most. But on that whole Javier Aguirre thing, I think listening to everyone trying to justify it, This is why we have what we have. We deserve to have the shitty product we have because we're justifying Javier Aguirre, who, when he coached Japan, they had won like 3 of the previous Asian Cups, and boom, got eliminated in the first elimination round. When he coached Egypt, same thing. They're one of the powerhouses of AFCON, and I think they hosted that African Cup, got eliminated like in the round of 16 as well.
Okay, but who
But
do you put in right now?
Mexico,
Who do you put
2
in right now?
times,
Who do you
he's
put in
been
right
booty
now?
cheeks from his dumb press conference before the Argentina game, where he put his hat down, covering his face,
Yep.
and he sounded defeated. To the USA game where he takes out Ramon Morales like minute 21, 28, like in the 20s, and puts in Luis Hernandez. Like, he hasn't shown anything from his allegations, even though it took like 8 years for his name to be cleared. His allegations of match fixing, like, this is it. And then the other thing that a bunch of the guys like Joel who are pushing for his move are the first ones to say that, oh, Liga MX players don't need to leave to Europe. Europe doesn't have much more to offer. What we need to focus is on the domestic league. So you're always bashing down on Europe that they need to stay here. But the savior is the guy who's in Europe coaching relegation teams.
But tell me, who else do you put? Like I said, he's the safest bet right now. You're gonna put Almada. You don't know where you're gonna get from Almada. Right now, the team
You don't know where you're going to get from
in the game.
Almada?
It's too late in the game. It's right
Doing
now.
well
It's
in your
just put a
local league?
respectable team. And you know
Doing
what?
well in your
Aguirre's the type
local
of guy
league
who can
with
put a respectable
fucking
team.
middle schoolers?
Yeah, he's doing Lord's work over there in Liga
I mean,
MX.
the guys that are like
But
say that
I
the
don't.
domestic league
It's
this
too risky at
and
this point.
that
And Mike,
that's the
It's
guy
not
you
a,
should be
it's not a
going
risk.
for.
You got no World Cup to
He's
qualify
shown
for.
it in your league.
No, but it's
Aguirre
like
couldn't get
you
it
don't
done
know
at
what you're gonna get from
Monterrey.
him. It's already too. You're
Aguirre
2 years
couldn't get
removed.
it done at Monterrey.
That's true.
You're 2 years.
And you're
The safe
bashing
bet's
the guy who's
Aguirre,
actually
like it
been
or not.
champion in
Like it
Liga
or not.
MX recently.
Like it or not, the safe bet is Aguirre. You don't know what Almada.
Yeah,
You
no,
at that
it's
level,
not.
you don't know what Almada's gonna do.
You
Yeah,
should
he's had
replace the
success
word
with
safe.
Pachuca.
You should replace the word safe with a cowardly bet. It's the coward bet.
Well,
That's
what
all
else?
it is.
At this point in the game, fucking go with what you know. It's
The
fucking
safe
2 years.
bet when you're
2 years removed. 2 years for no
Joel
cup.
just gave you the reason why you shouldn't go with a safe bet. He literally told you you're hosting. You're probably gonna get weak group rivals.
That's why. Well,
Why would you go with a safe
hey,
bet? You usually think
you don't
Almada
know.
in Mexico
You
against
don't
weak
know.
rivals,
Because you
he's
don't
gonna
know.
choke.
Look,
So,
Aguirre did a good job just until the KO rounds in those tournaments. I say, you know what?
Okay.
If anyone deserves a second chance,
Yo,
it's La Volpe,
wow.
dude. Not Aguirre.
Yeah,
He's already had two.
I totally
I
agree
would
on
say
that one.
Juan
I totally agree on that one.
Osorio before Aguirre.
You know
Yeah.
what? It's funny that you bring in Osorio. Right now they were saying that Mexico doesn't do long processes, but Mexico was willing to give Osorio another 4 years. But also, and Osorio has said repeatedly that he regrets. He's the one that turned down the job because he thought he was going to get the Colombia job. So, and he said it that they were gonna that's one thing he regrets, not continue the process because he was bringing along guys like Gallardo, like Vega, and it would have been interesting to be another years, but he's the one that turned it down. It wasn't Mexico. Mexico wanted another, and it would have been great. Like I said last time, with he was prioritizing top players. They were under his reign. They only allowed one goal in set pieces. It would have been good, but he didn't want to, and we're here.
So to touch on the idea of procesos, I just want to say that Almada, I think what eliminated him from the running is that he's backed by the wrong people, and he's more of a guy for a 4-year to a 6-year process.
Exactly. There you go.
Whereas Aguirre, a renowned bombero, is gonna have a project for the next 2 years, and then he's out. He's gonna ride off into the sunset. And so I'm all for Almada, but it's unfair to him, and it would leave him at a big disadvantage to only give him 2 years.
He would be a lame duck again, like we had with Coca. Like I said, fucking right now at this point, Aguirre and y que Dios me ayude.
Wait, I wanted to mention because I got thrown in the mix. I don't bash Europe. Not saying that going there is not the answer is not bashing Europe. And I say this because it always it's made to seem like if a player goes there, things are going to work out a certain way. And that's just not the case. And you don't have to take my word. You could you could analyze all the players that have gone. I don't really check Medio Tempo anymore, but they used to do kind of like a year in review type of stuff. And the average lifespan of going abroad was 2 years. So this is my whole thing. I'm not against going abroad. And I've said a lot of times if you're going to go, make sure that things are in your favor. You have a good agent or you talk to the manager and you're going to get a fair shake. So a lot of times these guys just go hoping to get noticed or to try to break in, and you don't need to do that if you're already getting playing time and whatnot. So that's always been my thing. It's not like not just don't go. I'm just saying go if it suits you. If the thing is if it's right, then go. Don't just go hoping that it might work out. And so that's been my thing. There, not I'm not bashing Europe. And like you said, if the league was stronger, well then yeah, I think that's what the focus should be on making the Mexican league stronger because all the success that we've seen has come from the homegrown talent. And Mexico's had really good success. Olympic gold, two Copa America finals, Confederaciones, uh, all brewed at home. You know, and when we see well, what's the difference? Well, it's obvious. Back then, it was 4 or 5 foreigners. Now it's like 8, 9. So it's obvious. It's less Mexican players playing. But that's just my quick take. It's not like don't go abroad. Uh, I'm all for going wherever you get a chance. Just a real chance, not some fake chance where coach a lot of times won't even take you into consideration. Like that one guy where he went to Celta de Vigo, where they said the coach didn't even want him. We didn't even look his direction.
Was that Nestor Araujo?
Yeah,
it
I
was
think that's
Nestor.
who it
Yeah.
was. See, why? Come on, how was that any help? You know? Oh,
Like,
'cause of the
remember that happened
training.
with
Come
Bravo
on.
too. Well, that happened with Bravo too with Deportivo La Coruña. They didn't want him, but they got him, and in a year
Someone
they
said,
sold him
yeah,
to
someone. Even Ochoa, when he ended up at the one, what was it?
the
Ma-
Spanish
He
team.
ended up just,
Mal,
yeah, he ended up being benched for the Cameroonian guy.
Yeah,
was it Mallorca? No, it was.
Yeah, I think it was. Where the fuck that team
No, it
anyway?
was.
it
I
was.
forgot the.
He got benched for a Nigerian goalie. Well, I wasn't the name of that
Yeah.
team.
And dude, that's the thing. Like, why even go?
Malaga,
Like,
right?
so
Malaga.
Malaga.
Yeah.
there you go. Yeah. So I mean, why go to those? Like, why put yourself like you don't need to be dragged. You know, that's the thing. That's the good thing of having a league that pays well and all that. You don't have to go and get dragged because you're hoping that you're gonna get a shot or whatever. So like, nah, it's not worth it.
And I also want the league to be strengthened as well. We don't have, in Mexico, the talent isn't quite there. At this point, and Habibi could probably help out with this. I don't know how long of a list of players we have that could migrate over to Europe right now, because I'm not seeing a whole lot of them that I think could make it. But um, you need talent at home and people challenging each other at home
Yeah.
before they can make that trek, and that's what's lacking in the league right now. And so yeah, like if there's players that want to go and try themselves out there and really become workhorses and try to make it out there, I'm all for that as well. But you know, where are these players? I think Westgas went out, and I think where do you end up at, like a Finnish league or something like that, or Danish
He's in
league?
Denmark.
With the top team in
He
Denmark,
got
they've
cooked
been
already.
known.
He got exposed on one of the goals.
But that team has a track record of selling guys to like mid-level Europe teams.
Yeah,
So,
and
that's a
I
good situation.
don't mind him going there. He wants to go give it a try. He's a young guy. I think he's got a high ceiling. But man, I really when I sit there and try to think about who can go, who can make the trek out and actually make it, it's hard for me to put together because we have so few players that are that big a quality out there.
Even Santi Jimenez, he got 0 offers this summer.
No,
0.
he didn't.
Well, Firestone had said right after Mexico got eliminated that he talked to Dennis de Close, who's the Feyenoord's sporting director, who worked with Chivas USA. She was Mexico, and he said that Dennis told him that his stock had gone down because of of his performance at Copa America. That his stock fucking plummeted.
Yeah,
So
as
and
it
that
should. He
the
didn't do
offers weren't
crap.
there.
Okay, to be fair,
I think Santi would probably do pretty well with the second striker.
yeah.
And I think the mistake was not taking Henry, right? I think that was a bad move. And before I forget, I did want to mention, because you guys were talking Aguirre real quick. If Lilini convinces Romero to play for Mexico, then Aguirre has his Gabriel Caballero, right? So we're all set.
No, the thing is, Romero was actually born in Mexico. Caballero, wasn't. Caballero was a full-grown adult when he started playing for Santos.
But no, Habibi, you were going to say something. I don't know if you had like a list of players or something that you think potentially has the it factor to make it in Europe.
No, I mean, as far as wrestling that, I don't think so. I mean, we're talking like it factor, like a Chicharito, a Marquez type thing, or even like lower level than that, like a Guardado.
Well, didn't you
No,
say 2 weeks ago that Mexico had no fucking guys that looked like fucking studs? Didn't
that's
you
what I'm
say that
saying.
too?
Like right now, like I don't see any guy in Liga MX who can give you that thing right now. What Liga MX offers is your Huesca types of guys that can go to Belgium, Denmark, Holland, Greece, and maybe use that as a trampoline up. But I don't think you have any players right now that you could say, yeah, this guy could play like in the top 10 teams of the top 3 leagues in the world for sure, starter. No, I don't think we have one of those. No, I was going to say that as far as Santi is, you could choose the striker pretty much from any national team, top 20 national team. And as far as the summer tournaments, and they all had stinkers. So I think it gets to the point of like, is it that all the strikers suck, or is it the style that has been created with the 4-3-3 of the wings cutting in and shit like that, just not benefiting the idea that we have of the striker as far as being like that in the box mercenary? Because if you look like, for example, Euros, Mbappe, Lukaku, Memphis Depay, Harry Kane, Cristiano Ronaldo, all the strikers, man, they suck. They didn't score like more than 2 goals. If you look over here, same thing. Santi, whoever the U.S. has striker, Brazil, whoever they have as striker,
Enrique,
even
but he was a
Argentina,
little
they
boy.
benched Lautaro, and then they started Julian, and then they benched Julian, and they started Lautaro. So if you actually look at all the strikers around the world, quote unquote, they all suck international wise. So I think instead of just blaming like, oh, why does Santi have a terrible game? Why did Mbappe have a terrible tournament? Why did Cristiano have a terrible tournament? I think we should look a little bit more in detail and see if it's just a off product of the current
You know
tactics
what?
and games.
In my opinion, Pep Guardiola and his false nine bullshit fucking killed the position.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because it's easy to just point out any striker from any national team and say they
Yeah,
suck.
right.
But when the top 20 national team strikers are not scoring goals, then I think there's a little something more that needs to be addressed.
I mean, even when you look at the club level, I mean, outside of Holland, I mean, what other central delanteros really setting the world on fire? And Holland has his issues.
Yeah, he has his issues. Like he'll score 3 goals against a relegation team,
Yeah.
and then go missing against the top 6.
I wanted to hear you guys' thoughts on both the Euro and the Copa America final. Obviously, now without some controversy. Starting with Copa America, just before the game even kicked off, obviously there was a lot of security issues. A lot of fans that didn't have tickets still went and bum rushed the gates and were able to sneak in. And the game was delayed for like 2 hours.
I have a lot to say
Let's hear
on
it.
this. The blame in that situation. Hey, look. Ultimately, it's CONMEBOL. I don't know if you know, CONMEBOL wanted they wanted the whole cake to themselves this time, so they didn't let they wanted no help from MLS, Zoom, and U.S. Soccer.
Really?
They said we're gonna do it on our own. That's why for the game there was no perimeters. They only got 500 Miami-Dade cops. They were doing anything cheap. That's why, that's why they were charging reporters in LA $28 for a fucking peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It was Conmebol. And then, but the U.S. Soccer, they have a bit of blame. I mean, because ultimately you let them do their show on your turf. But I mean, you would think Conmebol would be competent enough, considering they had the experience of 2016 to to do a good tournament. Like there was no issues in 2016. But now, since it was, I mean, it all started with them having those fucking pastors doing the sermon before the kickoff. You could tell they were in charge, and there was just a lot of complaints, and even with the media, like like they would you would travel to go cover a game, and then you wouldn't have access to fucking the mix zone or the conference. It was real disorganized. And then I was hearing like they would get volunteers. They would get like here in LA. They had volunteers for the Brazil Costa Rica, and it was so disorganized that half of those volunteers didn't show up for the next game.
No
It was
way.
it was a total CONMEBOL shit show. But the U.S. has, because when you let somebody have a house party in your house, you have certain responsibility. And then there were certain concerns that were brought up. Oh, is the U? It was mostly from fucking Mexican fans who think that Mexico could handle the World Cup by themselves. Mexican fans and press who think Mexico could handle the World Cup by themselves. That they should take it away. No. In 2 years, it's going to be a U.S. organizing committee, and it's going to be FIFA. And FIFA has a good track record of in World Cups. Almost with good organization. Those doubts for 2 years, they're unfounded, and the shit show we saw was all CONMEBOL. And if I may add, I went to go with my friend Edward Cowage from the LA Times. We went to go cover fan reactions at Sabor Colombiano in Los Angeles, and we didn't know, but that was a ticking time bomb. And then when we got home, we saw that down the street, some of those fans that were at Sabor Colombiano ended up getting stabbed and beat in a
Shit.
600 people brawl. So it was quite a fucking evening. Colombian fans, they were riled up. I mean, the team finally gave them so much years of promise with this crop of players. They finally gave them a chance to have some hope, and we could see it here in LA, and we could obviously over there in Miami. They want to be part of it. And another thing, I think one of the things that also was a key in the fans trying to storm the stadium was fucking CONMEBOL's ticket prices were fucking ridiculous. They were doing that dynamic pricing that obviously rose prices due to demand, and you cut off a bunch of fans because of that, because of your greed. So I mean, while the U.S. does have certain blame because they allowed it to happen. Fuck it, Conmebol was the Conmebol is the carries 95% of the blame.
Yeah, for sure. I think it was some of the scenes I saw on Twitter were really really bad. People climbing through the vents, and there's like kids and dogs, and it was just utter chaos. And it's like they didn't care. Nobody fucking cared. It was embarrassing. But yeah, I was wondering, like, dude, we've had Super Bowls at Hard Rock Stadium, like.
Yeah,
like there's no
because
way
the NFL does proper security. They set up for the Super Bowls. They set up at least 2 checkpoints around the perimeter of the stadium. You can even for Taylor Swift concerts, they fucking set up perimeters where you cannot show for these high risk events that are pretty popular. They set up perimeters so that you could not. You could not get to the stadium if you don't have a ticket. Then another team, they're blaming, it's porque son Latinos, los Latin people, this will happen. They fucking forget that on Netflix there's a fucking documentary where the English did the same shit but worse in Wembley.
Yep.
So
Way worse.
it's not a culture thing. It's a soccer thing.
Yep.
Just to add to what Albert's saying, the whole Uruguay thing where their families were in danger, all of that is brought on by Conmebol's greed as well, because they could easily put these families into booths or like a private.
And the skyboxes, it's a fucking NFL stadium. Put them in a skybox.
Exactly, but those things, there are a lot of money left on the table if you give them away. So they opted not to do that for the sake of profits.
Yep.
And then the aftermath was that mean old brawl that happened in the stands. So Conmebol really screwed the pooch with this.
They shit the bed.
They did, and it's all because during the Centenario they criticized U.S. soccer for leaving so much money on the table, and so they howled and they got their way, and this is the results of that.
Yeah, with Zoom, you wouldn't have. Zoom has a good. Yeah, people. A guy got stabbed at a Gold Cup game last year, but I mean, those are isolated. But with Zoom, you wouldn't have had a fucking portazo. You wouldn't have had fucking people fucking trying to climb in through the fucking air ducts.
For sure, we have a new speaker. Don, thanks for requesting to speak. Welcome to the show. Any thoughts? You're on mute, by the way.
Sorry, just joined. Just listening to what you guys have to say, so I'll just speak on the matters later on.
It's all good, man. Whatever floats your boat, we're here for you. If you got anything on your mind, just let us know. As far as the Euro final goes, are we happy that Spain won? Are we surprised that England lost?
You know what? I'm happy Spain won because the new coach, Puente, he tried something different. He went vertical, and it paid off. And it's a totally different style of team than the one that won the 2010. And it's good. It's good for soccer. Have a fresh team, and it was a good game. I mean, it was a little back and forth, but Spain had the edge. I mean, they had fucking Saka and Kane defending, so the pressure was on, and it was all the Spaniards there. Where I saw the game right there next to the LA Convention Center. Everybody was happy. It was a great day.
Yeah, man. This was our conquistadores versus
the colonizers.
The previous fathers of the U.S., man. This was your Mexico, USA of Europe. Had to go Team Spain all the way,
I got a question now. Where does Lamine Yamal rank for you guys? Winning a Euro at the age of 17. Is he going to be the next generation, the next Messi, the next Ronaldo?
The next Mbappe, at least?
Too early to tell. It all depends on the injuries, Too early to tell.
I mean, what he's doing at his age already, he's already a generational talent.
Yep.
He looks solidly built, so I don't know.
And it's one of those things. It's not like he was just like on the squad and he can check off that box. No. He was a protagonista in the match. He scored some goals, man. It's like he's the real deal, Holyfield.
Yeah, talent-wise, he's up there. It just depends what he does off the field. Like, look at trophies. He just got released by Pachuca for off-field issues.
Trophies is gone from Pachuca?
Yep, they just released them for off-field issues, you know.
Wow.
The Mexican on.
I didn't know he played still.
He won a title with him.
Goddamn trophies.
Yeah. Actually, I'm going to check in on some of these scores. Puebla León still tied 1-1. We have Cruz Azul winning 3-0 to Xolos. Wow, that's incredible. Cruz Azul just beat they beat Rayados 4-0, right?
Yeah. I think what we have to take into consideration is that Xolos is going to suffer away this whole season like they always do. You know, because of the field. They play on turf. And whenever they don't play on turf, they're going to struggle. And that's been a recurring issue for Xolos for many years. And I don't think Osorio's quite solved that yet. But like the first 45 minutes, I was watching them. It was pretty even. You know, it's just that Cruz Azul just showed a little better when in the defining moments. But so I don't think the scoreline reflects just how close this match was, at least for the first half.
You know, while I don't think we should take too much away from these first 4 weeks, because the fucking Leagues Cup is gonna come. It's gonna be fucking chaos like last year. I do think Cruz Azul is gonna hold up better than Chivas did. Remember, Chivas had that fucking strong start. Fucking Leagues Cup came and they fucking fell apart. I think Cruz Azul is on to something. And I don't. They might even win the Leagues Cup. Who knows? Now that fucking Mexico, they might even win it. They might even win it. I'm not a Cruz Azul fan. I'm not a Chemo. I'm a Chivas fan. But you know what? I like what they're doing.
Of course, Abdias is nowhere to be found when we need him the most. But, you know, look, we're already on Jornada 3. We're already 3 weeks into this tournament. We're going to have one more at the end of the week. And then it's going to be a long pause for a month in Leagues Cup. So it's going to take all these teams out of rhythm that are in rhythm right now. Like Cruz Azul, out the gate, man, want it. They want it bad. And I would not be surprised if like Leagues Cup like throws them off their rhythm and then they come back to Liga MX, then it's back to being
what happened with Chivas last year.
Exactly
what happened to Chivas.
Exactly.
What I want to say, though, is that right now they look really good, and they're doing it without their top scorer last year, Antuna, who's on the bench. I think he's leaving, right? I think that's why they got him on the bench.
Yeah, he's going to Greece.
And then they went ahead and lost Westcott. So 2 pivotal players are gone, and they still look really good. So I'm with Albert.
They got Jorge Sanchez to take over the Westcott spot. So
yeah, they did get Jorge to take over that, but still, like it would have been better to have them both, right? Yeah, and so they're dealing with the changes really well. I'm by no means a Chemo fan, but I game recognized game, and I gotta recognize.
Yeah, what's crazy is if this result stands, they'll be in first place. Perfect run, 3 games, 3 victories. And ironically, the team in second place is the one they're beating, which is Tijuana.
Yeah.
Still a lot of football to be played. And Leagues Cup, man, looming over us.
There's no fucking hype for that. Not even for that fucking MLS All-Star with Liga MX.
Was that before or after?
That's hold on, let me see. Maybe in the middle. Or let me see. MLS All-Star.
Because MLS would be that type of clown show that would put an MLS All-Star game in the middle of another tournament.
Yeah, like fucking having the fucking league in the middle of Copa America.
It looks like the All-Star game's going to be on July 24th.
Next week. Yeah.
Yeah.
On a Wednesday. So maybe before the start of the tournament? Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And it's going to be Liga MX All-Stars versus MLS All-Stars.
Yeah, that team just doesn't fucking excite me. Salomon Rondon, fucking Alvarado. It's like, I just don't know why Liga MX is still fucking...
Hector Herrera.
Oh, Yeah, they have a better squad. Yeah, they're gonna have all the top Mexican guys that Liga MX doesn't have.
I love that they didn't. I'm on their website. They just showed the MLS All Star roster. They didn't show Liga MX.
I had seen a site put out the possible starting lineup, but they had Magalon. Magalon still hurt. It's probably going to be Camilo Vargas.
Yeah, and that was a breath of fresh air to see him on the Colombian national team as a starter.
Yeah, it was good. And then Colombia had like a bunch of old friends of Liga MX, so it was nice to see.
For sure. Well, we had again Liga MX results over the weekend. We did have a solo pod after the Chivas defeat to Xolos. They lost 4-2. Quite a frustrating match. America beat Querétaro 3-1. Mazatlán, San Luis tied 2-2. Atlas and Tigres tied 1-1. Necaxa beat Puebla 4-1. Very curious to see Ryan Reynolds kick off Necaxa's own docu-series like they did with Wrexham. That's going to be something I'm going to look forward to. I wonder if they're going to go all in with Necaxa like they did with Wrexham.
They should. I mean, that's what the reason they're doing it, because the Wrexham was the whole fucking experience, a good story. It got good press, so why not do it? Because considering Mexico's a major market, so and you have a big Mexican American community in Los Angeles. No, I mean the U.S. I mean I don't see why they wouldn't go all in for that type of publicity.
I don't know. I just feel like with Wrexham, your return of investment could be more than tenfold. Well, with Necaxa, I just don't see the returns being that amazing for various reasons, from the market it is,
the culture shock of shit like El Pacto de Caballeros.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a bunch of shit. I mean, with Wrexham, I know probably sounds crazy, but I'm sure one of their goals is to get as close as possible to the Premier League. You know, as close as possible to getting promoted to it. Because each time you keep getting promoted, your value is just goes up by so much, and you can eventually sell the brand for hundreds of millions. They're not going to be able to do that with Necaxa, even if they were to find success. I just don't see it happening.
Well,
I mean, Televisa didn't have success with a brand in the 90s, and that fucking team was fucking a world beater.
So I think what you're forgetting is that Wrexham is a much more volatile investment, in that they can go bust or they can go up. But with Necaxa, the risk is far less in the fact that they can't be relegated. So
and you know what?
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up.
That's why the descenso's never coming back, because with the descenso you wouldn't have these type of investments.
Exactly, and Aguascalientes is a small area, but it like they've never really tapped into the potential of Aguascalientes, and that could change with some star power. So I'm also excited to see what comes of it, and more investment, more money equals higher quality. So I'm curious to see.
Who knows? Maybe one day we see Necaxa jerseys down Hollywood Boulevard.
Because look, the way
it's lower risk, but that was my whole point. That since it's less volatile, your profits are also, it's not as high rewarding. It's like going with a safe investment. You might get your 8-10% return, which is great, but you're not going to see nothing crazy tenfold.
Look, I can tell you this: as successful as the Wrexham brand has been, especially with generating an audience here in the United States, I went to cover Wrexham when they played Manchester United in San Diego, and there was more Wrexham fans than there were United fans. I don't think I'd ever seen that in my life. But one thing you can say about Necaxa is that it is a bigger market than Wales. Come on. And it is Liga MX, which is very exciting. I think that's probably their biggest appeal to investing in Necaxa, is the fact that their odds of winning a first division title with Necaxa are a lot higher than Wrexham are. Wrexham, are still couple tiers away from the top division. Whereas Necaxa, all they need to do is get hot at the right time. They go into a playoff and they can, on paper, have a higher chance of winning that than it is investing in the club and gambling on 46 games a season over in the UK. So we'll see what happens. And also, it's not just them, right? They have a whole entourage with Verlander, with Eva Longoria.
Longoria is a key player right there.
They can get all the Hollywood celebrities together and really start pushing Necaxa brand. Huge.
Yeah.
Okay, so I promise you, majority of those folks that had Wrexham jerseys at that Manchester United game, it's probably a bunch of Netflix watchers, hippies.
Yeah, that's what they are.
What's wrong with that?
Like, all that.
That's why I said that I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Necaxa. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Necaxa jerseys down Hollywood Boulevard.
Necaxa, and at the same time, Mexico is very regional. Look at all the success Tigres has had. You don't see Tigres selling away stadiums in Mexico. They don't.
Yeah,
but
Tigres
all the success they had, they do their every now and then they do La Invasión de Tigres, but they send fans by buses to the away stadiums.
But you got to see the bigger picture. What's the name? Necaxa is gonna have Hollywood clout, not fucking regional fucking Cowtown fucking clout. They're gonna have, there's gonna be people in Hollywood that are gonna be watching that shit, and they're gonna get inspired. And like I said, we're gonna see fucking Necaxa. Just like I saw Wrexham jerseys down Hollywood Boulevard, I'm gonna see fucking Necaxa jerseys down Hollywood Boulevard.
Hey, I hope it's successful because it's good for the league, but I just don't think it's going to be like a home run or anything like that. It's going to be like whatever.
Do not underestimate the power of Deadpool, bro.
Of Hollywood.
I not just that, but I just want to say that Mexico is on the precipice of an economic boom. A lot of manufacturing has moved from China to Mexico. So I think in the next 20 years, we're going to see the standard of living rise, the amount of money, in Mexico rise. And what's it called? It's the time for investment in Mexico, and I think we're going to see a lot more of that. And I think it's hands down the better investment. If you compare Wrexham,
you're saying there's more investing in Mexico than compared to what they were doing in China.
I'm saying that manufacturing has moved from China. Like American companies are moving from China to Mexico. And in the next 20 years, it's been predicted that Mexico is going to be a manufacturing giant. So,
didn't they build all those huge landing strips over there in Mexico?
So what I hear is that we're offering
the Señor de los Cielos landings.
We're offering cheaper labor than the Chinese. So
that's why.
To me.
That's why.
Yeah,
I mean that's what it comes down to. I mean, if
not just that. Not just the cheaper labor, because the GDP has also gone up. People are making more money, but if, for example, if Trump wins, he's already gonna raise the taxes on manufacturing coming in from abroad. So I don't know how.
Hey, is Elon still doing that Tesla factory in Monterrey?
I don't know. I don't think so.
He's going to Texas.
he's going to Texas,
like a bad thing to me. You make shit cheap as hell. So if someone finds you as the better, cheaper version, it means do you really want to be that?
I mean, it means more jobs, which means more money. So I mean, it's a win. It's hard to spin it as anything else. Other than a win for Mexico, but what I'm touching on is that Mexico is a good investment right now, according to experts, and people investing in Mexico like they are in Necaxa is something that's kind of not only fashionable but looking like to have a really good upside right now. So that's all I wanted to point out.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think the Necaxa rumored series will be on Disney Plus, so keep your eyes peeled for that. But I'm looking forward to what they do over there in Necaxa. I like the rise of Xolos. You have Chepo over at Puebla. Like, it's time to give these dark horse teams like some excitement, right? Because it's always the same, four
The
teams.
same two for Monterrey, the
Yep.
Monterrey, America, and your flavor of the month.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, folks, that's all I had to say. I know Joel kept saying that we had a super packed pod, but he's been quiet.
What? No, everyone was talking. they were making great points. So I mean, I don't. No, just the whole. You covered it. I think you did. There was another news. I already forgot it, man.
I know you guys talked about the whole Copa America thing, but I want to talk about the whole like racism thing that came up as far as their their chant and everything like that. I'm not gonna choose sides if it was right, if it was wrong, whatever the fuck it might have been. But I'm just gonna say, if Mexican national team players did some shit like that, we'd already be suspended.
Well, let's talk about what they said. Let's talk about what they said.
Puto or something like that, we'd be cooked by now.
Well, they called Mbappe a puto because he was dating the transsexual girl, and then they were mocking the French players with African roots. They're saying, "Oh, tus papás son de Angola, pero tienes pasaporte francés." It was vile shit like that. Like, it looks bad. My friend was telling me, look, they make a big shit about the fans selling putos, and these guys are probably not going to do anything to these guys. And they're players. They're fucking players.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not even the fans. These are like actual players. Yeah, after winning a cup, it's not even like they lost or anything. They're over here. They have
they showed their true fucking colors.
All these things that they could be like chanting or like singing, and they choose to do that. It's like, come on,
they choose to be salty.
And why are you writing Mbappe's dick when you just beat Colombia?
I'm not writing anyone's dick, by the way.
No,
I'm just saying that it's Argentina. Like it's unacceptable to see that from a professional player, bro. And he plays in the Premier League, and he plays with African players.
You didn't even hear what I said. I'm saying the players, Argentina. Why do they have Mbappe's dick on their mind after just beating Colombia? Like, even the chant itself is just random as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, why would you?
Like, he's not even like part of the tournament you just won. Like, but you're still thinking about him and the French that bad.
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious how like Enzo issued that apology, and he's like, "Oh, these aren't my beliefs." But like, it's hard to argue that when you and your teammates. I saw Guido, by the way, singing it in that video. It's hard to argue that you don't believe these things when you memorize this song. And then you chant it passionately.
You fucking composed. He composed it.
So, I'm not gonna lie though. I'm gonna say that I see nothing wrong with a chant. Honestly,
come on.
Because I'm gonna tell you this. Because I make fun of Pochos for the same thing, bro. Like I have Pocho friends. Like I have friends that they'll say like, "Oh, bueno, mis papás son de Texas, pero yo soy de aquí." So it's me, and then I make fun of them because I'm like, you look like a freaking nopal. Like, just say you're Mexican, bro. But they're like, no, man, I'm American. But my parents are from Zacatecas. They're the Mexicans.
But this was a little bit more vulgar, bro. It's not like
all they said is.
I think there's only one.
Your mom's from Nigeria. Your dad's from Cameroon, but you call yourself French. I see it along the same lines. The racism that they're saying that's behind it. I just don't see it, or maybe I'm a racist, or maybe I am.
No, I know what the funny thing is.
I agree with you, dude. I don't think it's racist. It's if anything, it's more homophobic. It's different because look, it's the song here says escuchen, corran la bola, juegan en Francia, pero todos son de Angola. So so they don't speak Spanish. It says pass the word. They play in France, but they're all from Angola. I mean, I don't know how much, if that's like racist, maybe very mild. Here's the second line. Qué lindo es van a correr, son cometrabas como el puto de Mbappé. I don't know what cometrabas
He was
is.
dating a tranny.
But
The
no,
English.
no, but
He's eating.
Traba in Argentina is transvestite.
okay.
Yeah.
Like he was
How do you
dating a
know that, Al?
transgender.
How do
No,
I mean,
because I have Argentine friends that I asked them.
but this line I would say is like the homophobic one, like
Yeah.
out of the whole song. Then what follows is su vieja es nigeriana, su viejo camerunés, and I know right here they're talking about their parents. So like the mom's Nigerian, that's from Cameroon, and then it says pero en el documento nacionalidad francés. But in their document, it's French nationality. So I don't see it like racist, more of like kind of making fun of like the French not having their own talent. But that one line would be the come trabas and puto man,
Yeah.
and that would be
Do you
more
think?
homophobic. So it
Sometimes
surprised
it's
me
not even. It's
they
not even what you say. It's how you say it, bro. You know.
Do you think that Come Trava's line is more egregious than the Mexican fans yelling puto?
yeah, it's yeah, and they're straight up calling the player by name.
yeah,
Mex
I
don't
think
care,
that's a
dude.
bad part right there too. Because if Mexico
Yeah,
players came out and said "Joto," I'll be a rap. But they can come out and call uh
well,
homo and everything, call him out by name, and like get no flack for it. Ooh, come on, that's
because look,
privilege right there.
Salcido was straight up caught. You know, with um
With Yamile.
with the cariñosas that have ramas.
Yeah,
You know,
Yamile.
yeah, dude.
And
Even
remember she said in TV novelas, era simpático, pero estaba fellito.
and she felt she licked his dick pic.
What?
So this dude was, straight out. It's kind of obvious that he's bisexual or whatever, and he never got attacked. You never really heard him going to the stadium and the pitch, and the fans yelling shit.
No, it
No,
was there
no
was
chanting, nothing, dude. Nothing. You never, you would expect it. Like I was kind of expecting it with the whole,
no,
you
people had
know,
a chuckle,
they
but they
get,
left it at that.
they didn't care. Well, that's the whole thing with Mexico when they say puto. They don't. Anyone who does that kick is gonna be puto. You know. So it's sort of like
All I know
I
is
don't know. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that it's not.
certain
They're
players
not really going after
have
you.
been in trouble for doing a lot less. Like when Cavani tagged one of his friends and said, "Oh, mi negrito,"
Oh, that one was dumb.
and
Yeah,
they're like,
that
"You
was.
racist son of a bitch!" Like, and it was like an affectionate term, but it didn't translate well when he was in England. I think that's the issue, right? Is Enzo plays in the Premier League, right, and they take that shit serious. And he has a lot of teammates at Chelsea that won't appreciate that chant. I'm
Oh,
ever, I'm very curious to see what happens to him.
speaking of Negrito, I was reading an ESPN article from Javier Aguirre. You remember when he kicked that Panamanian guy?
Oh
And
yeah.
And it's still on the ESPN website and everything. And he was saying the reason he did it was because the players weren't like running, they weren't like tackling hard, they weren't doing nothing. So then he says, y pasó el negrito ese y se quiso hacer el vivo, entonces le di una patada y les grité al campo, hasta yo tengo que hacer lo que ustedes no hacen. So like, he was saying like I basically just kicked him to show him like, come on, this is how when you play on the field. But
Hey,
his actual quote,
that
his
happened in the
actual
two.
quote is "Viene el negrito ese," and back then that never like blew
It was
up.
2009. That was 2009.
Yeah, like that never blew up. It was never like breaking news: Mexican coach racist, blah blah blah. Like nothing. It's just like completely under the radar. And that's what I'm
Well,
saying. Like this, like
the
Argentina chant. Don't get me wrong. If there's someone that hates Argentina, it's me. If you hate Argentina, we don't got to even introduce each other. You're already a friend for life. So
well, you know what?
I don't support Argentina. You can say the chant is homophobic, but I just don't see the racism people are throwing behind because it's the same accounts that are calling it racist. The ones that when France won the World Cup in 2018, they said man, look how amazing Africa would be if like they didn't get colonized. Because look at France, all their players come from Africa. That's basically what the chant is saying.
Yeah,
It's saying the
yeah.
same damn thing. You guys come from Africa and you play for France.
But I
Yeah,
think
but
that,
they were born in
like
France.
Hoyle said, it
They're
was
born in
probably
France. They're born in France.
it was probably what Hoyle said. The what comes off as a bit homophobic more than anything.
Yeah, but they didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't attack that Codazo.
But they're not
Even the
calling him
French.
homophobic. All the black players
Yeah,
in Chelsea stopped following him. Not the gay players, the black players. So they find it
yeah,
racist.
yeah. That's what confused me. I was like, if anything, it's more homophobic than racist. This racism is
So
at this
if we
point we're just
dissect what
too
they're saying, if we
worse.
dissect what they're saying, they're invalidating the Frenchhood of these players due to the color of their skin, which is inherently racist.
Yeah.
And so I do think it's racist, but I will admit that Habibi has a point in that FIFA
Wait. How
and the
are they
world.
invalidating for the color of the skin? Because they're saying your parents are born somewhere else. They're
Yeah,
not born.
but the underlining meaning is that you're not French, you're Angolan. And
Yeah,
and and and,
they're
and,
putting
and
emphasis on the color of the skin.
they're not talking about Hernandez, who has the last name Hernandez and is obviously like some Spanish origin, but who plays for France, right? Like they're not talking about him. They're talking about the black people. So I do think the underlying meaning is inherently racist. But what I wanted to say is that like society or like public opinion as well as FIFA is really selective on what they want to become social justice warriors for. Like Spain, almost every game they have the puto chant, and FIFA doesn't give a shit. They
Well,
don't give a shit.
look at
But
the last World Cup. They fucking has a fucking bad record. Bad human right. Qatar has a bad
of course,
has a bad track record with human rights and with
slavery.
homosexuality, and they gave them the fucking cup because they paid up
Yeah,
and then
homosexuality is a death penalty in
yeah.
Qatar, and they were basically practicing slavery to meet the quota of the stadiums,
Yeah.
and people didn't give a shit. And so, like this woke posturing, I can't stand it because it's fake and it just feeds to the fucking corporate sponsorship that backs these players. I mean, these federation stooges.
And
So
the funny thing is that the puto chant in Mexico went under the radar for 10 years. It started at the Preolímpico, and nobody really got a wind of it till the Brazilian fans in Brazil started fucking doing it. And that's when, oh my God, it's fucking bad.
Well, here, by that time, 2014, you had that rise in a lot of the stuff that was happening in the U.S., and so the complaints came from here in the U.S. It's where it was made a big deal.
Yeah, you
It's
can find the original
the-
article because I looked it up and I already said on the podcast before. The most original article I can find online is from a someone that identifies as homosexual male writer, if that's his pronoun, and he was the first one that brought it up, and then everybody else picked it up, and then that shit being sponsors. But the most original article I can find is some white liberal in California complaining about it.
Well, Habibi, I hate Argentina. So does that make us friends for life?
We're friends for life, bro.
Okay.
We are friends
God
for
damn.
life. All my homies
Yeah,
from Argentina.
but I also have to be careful about who I bring around my peeps with. David Duke Habibi. It's mentioned.
Yeah, I think Rifalo really hit it on the nail there. Hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
And it's very like selective of what FIFA decides to enforce and what not to enforce and what to look left, look and just like turn the other way. It's very inconsistent. Same thing with VAR, it's been a huge issue ever since it was implemented. Like there's certain plays that don't go under VAR, there's certain some that do, and it's like it's still a very lengthy process. Like how many minutes are wasted having to review a goal and the awkward celebration after the goal is already, all the wind's been taken out of your sails at that point. I think VAR needs to be another issue that needs to be fixed.
Agreed, man. That's definitely a consistency issue there, man. But all I can do is just echo your sentiment on that, dude. That's a big wormhole to go down.
Yeah, for sure. Well, boys, I have nothing else on the docket tonight. I want to give you guys the opportunity to have your closing thoughts as we wrap up episode 438. We do have some Liga MX action on the weekend and still some tonight and tomorrow, so keep your eyes peeled for that. But who wants to go first?
I'll go. I just want to talk about how the media can influence us a lot of times. One of my ongoing topics. One of the things I saw today on ESPN was one of the Picante shows, Chivas in Crisis, and they're trying to build this narrative. And Alvaro Morales, in the hopes that if Chivas lost, then it would have been a talking point now for weeks. And I'm like, dude, 3 games in, and you're calling it a crisis. And it's easy. It could get people worked up, but I'm like, it seemed very premature. But now that whole narrative just fell apart because they ended up winning. But I'm just saying how just these little things, like how they go like that, they have this massive effect on fans, and that's why a lot of times we see some of the things because we're watching the league, and a lot of that stuff translates to the national team. And this is kind of like things like these that I see that are very misleading, and especially if you're a new fan, you're just getting into the game. It will affect sort of like how you view the game and what your expectations are. So I was just saying, if you're new to this, take a lot of that stuff with a grain of salt, man. That's just how they build their shows. That's gonna be their talking points for the next like a month. Had Chivas lost, they were just gonna, use that as the because it's like a daily show. They need to fucking make something up if there's nothing going on. And if whatever's happening is boring, well, they need to make it sound exciting to get people to come back and listen and keep you glued there.
For sure, Joel.
I'll go next time. Mine's not going to be football related. I'm just really happy to have been able to jump on today. After having a heart attack last month and going through the surgeries that I went through, it's nice to come back on and talk some footy and get to chat with all of you guys again and have a good time. And obviously, I ran out of gas for a little while there and was quiet, but yeah, this was a lot of fun. And Jaime, I'll be in touch so we can get together. Yeah, thank you, man.
Hell yeah, brother. Glad to hear that you're doing well, man. We've been worried about you, and glad that you're back on the podcast. We definitely missed you. But yeah, dude. These games, bro, I hope they're not detrimental to your health, bro, because even me, dude, I get pissed off of some of these matches, dude, especially with the national team.
What, man, when you go through an incident like that, man, you learn how to just kind of smile and laugh it off, man. You find a way to manage the emotions, man.
For sure. Speaking about the one that can control their emotions, Rifalo, what you got for his closing thoughts?
My closing thoughts is I wish you a speedy recovery, Super Elbow. And I just want to give my flowers to El Hormiga as well as El Pocho, El Vaquerito, who look good. And, Hormiga looks good. He looked, he showed his age with that foul and that yellow card at the end of the game, but he provided the assist for the second goal of the night. And he looked dangerous, right? But the man of the match for me who looked dangerous the whole time he was on the pitch was El Vaquerito. And I think it's really interesting that El Orgullo de Mexico, the person that's leading this team, that is the pride of Mexico, is some pocho, third generation Mexican from California
Yes,
who
sir.
barely speaks Spanish. And I think that's ironic. I think that's hilarious. And I think it's symbolic of what the national, of what Mexican soccer needs right now, and that's support from Los Pochos, the people that some people on this panel love to shit on. They support financially the FMF. They support them in the stadiums when they fill them here in the United States, which is the majority of the games for the El Tri. And I think having players like this represent Chivas is indicative of what the future is going to look like, and that's going to be a lot of sons of Mexican diaspora or Mexican Mexican immigrants going abroad, and I for one look forward to it, and I hope to see Caleb do good in this league. And yeah, those are my closing thoughts and rant.
Nice. Yeah, really want to see more of Hormiga. He's breath of fresh air when he came in. I also thought that it was a stupid foul, but the other guy should have got a red card. He like stomped on him, and then he just retaliated after. And the referee actually went to VAR, took off the red card, and gave him a yellow. But he didn't give the other player anything else. So I thought that was bullshit. But yeah, that was a good, entertaining match. Cowell, man, from Sirius, California. He's about an hour away from where I live. So someone that I saw make his professional debut in San Jose, and really glad to see him breaking into his stride. And I'll get to my closing thoughts in a sec, but Habibi, what you got for us?
First of all, Super Elbow, glad to have you back. Wishing you a speedy recovery. I've always liked you for being one of the older guys on the pod that actually makes sense, unlike Ron and Joel. So, there's no such thing as three wise men. There's only one. And now, as far as my closing thoughts, soccer related, great that Cade's doing well and everything. But let's not start throwing flowers to all the Pochos all of a sudden. Let's remember that yes, Pochos do sell out the stadiums here and when El Tri plays, but it's also one of the problems that they keep selling out these stadiums to these mediocre games. And then also we said it countless times, there has not been one player that US soccer or left Mexican national team is missing out on that's Mexican American. Not Pepe, not Efrain Alvarez, not El Homie Castillo, Herc. There hasn't been a single one where each federation has been like, damn, we really lost them. It hasn't. So till that starts happening, let's not devalue the Mexican domestic talent, thinking that we need to go mix with America, the U.S. to produce something decent. Let's give the domestic guys a chance still. And then as far as everything else, I said this before, for all my gamblers out there, I had Spain and Argentina winning. I said this on the pod. Tournaments, they're gonna give you underdog stories. Uh, upsetting somebody in quarterfinals, semifinals, whatever. But when it comes to the moment of truth, the decisive game, 95% of the time, the historical team with more titles is going to win that decisive game.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be very rare for you to see a Greece Euro champion thing often. It's that's why it's rare. So Argentina historically favorite over Colombia. Same thing. Spain historically, most recently, they won Euros, they won a World Cup. England, title wise, has never really done shit except the bogus World Cup at home. That's very questionable how they won that World Cup if you read into it. So hopefully it serves you guys as betting advice for the next time. If that's what you're into, just go with the favorites. Go with the historical favorites. It's very unlikely that they'll lose.
For sure, Habibi. Thanks for your insights. Appreciate everyone's energy tonight. Cruz Azul ended up beating Tijuana 3-0. That's official. Puebla and León went down to a buzzer beater. It was 2-1 León and then a PK for Lucas Caviani. And the game ended in a 2-2 draw. Tomorrow, we're going to have Necaxa Monterrey. That should be an interesting one. Necaxa come from beating Puebla 4-1. Meanwhile, Monterrey come off of losing 4-0 to Cruz Azul. So that's an interesting matchup there. Juarez Pumas tomorrow. Tigres America, definitely the one to look out for tomorrow at 8. And then Toluca Mazatlan. We'll have match day 4 action on Friday and also Saturday and Sunday. So we'll have 4 jornadas by the end of the week, and then we will go on a break for Leagues Cup. Closing thoughts, the one that's top of mind for me, interesting connection between Cal and Chicharo. I want to see more of that. We had Chicharo set up Cal for the first goal of the game, and the game against Xolos, unfortunately, disallowed goal, but it was Cal sending it to Chicha. So I hope that partnership continues to flourish. As far as the question I have for the audience and for our listeners who will be listening to this recording, are we going to witness another dominance by Spanish football internationally? Because we saw what Spain did in 2008. They won the Euro. Then they won the World Cup 2 years after. Then they won the Euro again 2 years after that. And this Spanish team is young. They're hungry. They have a system. We might be witnessing another one of those golden generations and dominant run from Spanish Football Federation. So keep your eye on that. But thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. And we'll catch you on the next one. YouTube. Thank you guys, Franklin, Boba Man, for hanging out with us on YouTube.